Hey folks, Jeff from Corrugated Cavalier here. This is just a quick update on my review that I did 2 years ago on the Fiore tournament fetter, and just a little bit more of a review. The main points here being that you should absolutely check with your instructor and your HEMA club before buying a training sword. Not that my instructor or club has any problems with this, but you should definitely check first. And the other main points being that it has held up very well. But let's get into some specifics. So I say that you should check with your club and instructor first for a couple of reasons. Most clubs have different opinions on like the level of flex and such that they want in their blades. This is a pretty stiff blade, admittedly. I've had several people, not in my club, but online, say that this is too stiff to use for unarmored sparring. I have not had a problem with it. I have not had anybody complain about it being too stiff or getting hurt by it. I have had one person say that they think it hits a little bit harder than a standard fetter, but not really complaining about it either. This should also be said that we tend to focus on sparring with a fair amount of control. And I personally practice on the Pell and such, being able to really control my blows and being able to pull back on thrusts as well once they've landed. So I have no problems with this, but you should absolutely check with your instructor first. And it may not be the absolute best for a beginner or somebody who is not that concerned about control in sparring. That said, I still really like this sword and it has held up very well. It moves pretty well. I have held other fetters that are a little bit lighter in general and they are a bit more responsive, but I don't feel that this is sluggish or anything like that necessarily. The blade has held up quite well. I have to like file it occasionally. There are a couple of dings in here. Like you'll see like a slightly bigger one here. I should probably get back on that with a file, but nothing too bad. The edge has held up quite well with a lot of drilling and a fair amount of sparring. Still holding up quite well. Yeah, you see once again there's a little bit of degradation here, but this is 2.5 years of a lot of drilling and a fair amount of sparring. And just a little bit of file or sandpaper work has always been totally fine with me. The cross guard has held up well. There, are a couple of little deformations there, but nothing bad whatsoever. The only slight issue has been the grip, but that's pretty much always the case. This leather has come unpeeled several times. Honestly, I just use some contact cement and kind of press it back down, and it's usually fine for a few months after that, a couple months maybe. So it hasn't really been too much of a problem with me. It's just occasionally annoying. Some people have had issue with the grip is actually a plastic grip underneath this leather. I have not had any problems with mine. It's holding up just fine, but I have heard that other people have had problems with it. So overall, this is just a really quick update. I wanted to give people some things that I've learned since I've been doing HEMA for a little longer now, that you should definitely check with your club and your instructor of whether this is an appropriate sword. I still really like it. I have no problems. People don't complain about it with me. And I like the slightly shorter length than a lot of the fetters that we use. I still do quite enjoy it, and it has held up well for me. If you have any questions about it, please feel free to ask them down below. I'm more than happy to answer. Please click like, share, subscribe this around to anybody who might find it helpful. Be good to each other, and ciao.